Okay. I did something to my computer to make it maybe work a bit smoother. I don't think it's an internet problem. I think it's a processing problem. Right. So it might be a little bit laggy, but it should again straighten out. So Alexa, shush. Do I like this aesthetic? Yes, I'll do. I'm so used to this Alexa thing now. Alexa, Alexa, change light color to purple.
Okay.
I quite like that. I quite like that, although it's quite dark in here now. Hold on. Yeah, so I've just came from my brother's funeral, and it was it was one of those things because you don't know who's going to show up. This tragedy was all over the local media. It was all over Facebook, and so over like you're talking like up to 1,000 people having heard and shared their condolences. So we went, my mother and I, to the church hall and we set out all the sandwiches and my mum made this massive barrel of soup and it was in a pot. Just in case people aren't aware how things work in Scotland, it wasn't literally a barrel of soup. and yeah, sandwiches and all the rest of it. And we took it all round there. And then my aunt and uncle and their daughter from uh, the west side of the country, sorry, the east side of the country, came over here to the west. You're talking 20 miles. It's a quite a narrow little band down here in the lowlands. So yeah, we got together there and dropped off some stuff, came back home to get changed, and then I went back over. Now I decided to read a eulogy, which I'd like to share with you. Um, and it was strange, because I sent the eulogy to the locum who was going to be doing the service, and he's like a family friend. We've known him for years, and you know, he said because I didn't want to read his response right away because it's also heavy, but I read his response on the Monday night, and he said that he really liked my eulogy, and in a strange way that sometimes happens, it just uh, worked really well with what he was going to say. And it did. As I was listening to him speak, I'm thinking, it's like we planned this together, you know? They actually had to tell us in attendance that, in fact, it wasn't planned together. We wrote these two things independently, and yet they came together really, really nicely, you know? I mean, you could say, well, you're both speaking from the Bible, but then, as he was saying, when people give eulogies these days, they don't quote scripture so much, you know? And he said it was nice, the fact I'd put some scriptures in there. And so it was really, really lovely, just that. And I didn't know how I was going to be today. I spoke about a resilience that's there and that I've had with me through this time. And it never actually left me through the day. And I don't know if that's because I had a sense of how I need to be, the person I had to be, how I should conduct myself. Like, I felt like I want to be a strong one. I want people to look to me and see that that's the disposition that we should have. And I think, I don't know, it's when you break down. I mean, yes, I broke down at the first hearing of the accident, and then again one night when I came in and I saw the news online again, and it just all hit me. But since those two occasions, it just feels like it's such a futile act, and also such a um, I don't know, just it doesn't really communicate how I feel about the whole thing. To just break down and cry, it's totally understandable to do that in a crisis, but it doesn't. Um, it doesn't communicate my faith that this isn't really an end, and it's not something I'm so distant from and so divorced from that I should cry hysterically at a funeral. my goodness, I'm going to be in that ground soon. Well, this body's going to be in that ground soon enough. You know, I'm not so far away from that. And so it's not this alien thing, it's just another transition. And my faith is that when that does happen, it won't be the end. Genuinely to believe that is such a wonderful, wonderful gift. It is. So this was difficult. Seeing this, just to see the image of your brother um, on one of these, and I thought that might get me. So I made an effort to get into the church sooner rather than later. So I went to the church hall across the road. I made sure all the food preparations were done. My aunt and uncle were there from the East Coast, and I said, I'll be back over for you. I just need to go and see the church and get a feel for it, just to kind of get a sense of the ambience and just the kind of how things are going to be through there. So this was quite difficult to look at, um, but here it is. So 19th of August, 1986 to the 5th of November, 2019, and inside were the hymns that we sang. So we went for this one was sang first, Amazing Grace, just with the four stanzas or verses, sorry, and then this hymn here, The Lord's My Shepherd, um, with the five verses there, and you know they just seemed like nice ones to sing, and so um, the minister said his piece, and then he asked me up, and I could feel a certain disquiet in my heart. I knew this would be quite a difficult thing to do, um, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to be someone that was going to stand up there and say my piece. And I'm wearing this grey coat, and it's a really lovely grey coat, and it's significant too. So I'll show you this great. It's quite a nice long jacket. It's got a bit of length to it. I like the colour of it. Um, when I went to a ceilidh, a Scottish dance recently, I was wearing a kilt with a grey jacket, and I think it's a really becoming colour. I really like that. But it follows the theme of the eulogy, which I'll read now. Um, so, and again, when I was reading this up there, my heart was trembling, like it was doing the mamba, and I thought at some point, am I going to be okay? Am I going to collapse here? But as I just got into it, I just knew that this is, I need to say my piece. So I stepped up to the lectern and I said, as a younger sibling, I used to get a lot of hand me downs. As a child in the 90s, this was what it was. But as my brother grew older and began to pick out his own clothes, I'd come to look forward to hand me downs. Sorry, Mum. He had great taste. I'd often ask to borrow a shirt or a jacket for a night out in the town. This fraternal tradition of the hand me down became a cherished thing. In 33 years of life, Robert came to hand down a lot more than clothes. Robert loved to share. His jokes, all his passions and interests, whether it was cars or computers, he'd regale you with all the details and share any advice he had. If you ever did Robert a favour, he'd go that extra mile to ensure any good deed was measured back to you tenfold. A few weeks ago, Robert gifted me a computer for helping him revise for a business management course. It wasn't until I went to visit his flat last week that I realised the significance of this gift. Robert had taken all the best parts from his prized desktop computers and put them all into one for me. That's my brother. Finally, as I gathered up some of Robert's things the other day, I came across a note tucked away among some papers. It was a list, and at the top of Robert's list, he had written God, then family, friends, work, and at the foundation, love, which was underlined several times. One grief filled morning, I pondered the question, am I the big brother now? But in the Christian tradition, we all have a big brother. Around his 33rd year, he once said, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. In 1 John 4:16, the apostle tells us that God is love. Therein lies the most transcendent and enduring hand-me-down. For Robert, love was the framework of his life. He loves his family, and we love him. Love is the great unifying principle. In John 17, Jesus prays to the Father that I didn't even get this emotional, that we may all be one, just as he is one with the Father. It's in this spirit that I say he loves his family and we love him, because I know that love unites us all across rivers, cultures, time, and even death. With this understanding, I'm not without hope. I've recently been playing a game called Ludo with my friends. It's also known as Frustration or Don't Be Angry. I used to play this game with my brothers and great Auntie Annie. I miss my Nana, Aunt Annie, my dad, and I'll miss Robert. But I believe one day I'll be playing them at Frustration again. Mind you, if I'm as sore a loser as I was in my childhood, well, I thank God for the time I have to learn patience. In Robert's memory, let's all remember to make love our most important hand-me-down. Amen. I got through that, you know. I actually didn't know if I would, but I managed to read that and to say that to my family and to those in attendance, and it was fine, you know. I managed to get through it, and then um, I went to I went to sit down and be with my family, and yeah, it was something else, you know. I was actually I tried to make myself kind of go around and see everyone that had came to visit because I didn't recognise a lot of faces, you know. One of them was the local councillor who'd taken over when my father had passed away, and I just thought, you know, she's sitting there by herself. Let's go and say hello, you know. Um, yeah, sorry, I'm just seeing the comments now. Thank you, Sonic Grace, and thank you, Leanne. Uh, Leanne, I wish you all the best today too. And honestly, all the strength from you guys was with me that day. That's what was it. That was what was with me. You know, as I was able to stand up there today and to read those words, just to remember all the support and all the love that I have. Um, there was two people. There was two people in attendance today that I never expected to see so much. Like I didn't think they would be there, but they'd showed up, and it just meant the world. It was Robert's. It was Robert's best friends for high school. You know, and I thought, man, that meant a lot because he hadn't spoke to them in years. And one of them's an orthopedic surgeon, and the other one's he's in cars. He works with cars or something like that in Glasgow. And both good contacts to have. I'll be needing a new car, and who knows, next time I'll break a bone. But yeah, um, Robert always loved his cars and his computers and that. And as when I said that in the eulogy, they very much resonated with that. And we're like, yeah, that was, you know, Robert had such an insight into these things, you know, and he loved to speak to his friends about these things. And it was just so lovely to catch up with those guys and to hear them share their stories and to reminisce about the times I'd met up with them too, you know. Um, actually, you know, it was a Guy Fawkes night some years ago, around about 2006 or something like that, where I remembered one of his friends being there, and we had such a good laugh together. It was such an incredibly lovely time, and he said he had such vivid memories of that night too, you know. And his other friend who I used to go to different clubs with again and meet up with and all that. It was just such an incredible time. I really, really enjoyed myself there. Um, oh gosh. So yeah, I spoke to them for a good little while, and the family. You know, we all had a nice little bite to eat afterwards. You know, and it was one of the most difficult things during a funeral service is where you have to lower the coffin into the ground. And but again, it was handled really well. You know, I don't know if I seem to remember taking on more weight, more of the burden when I was lowering my father's grave down and my Aunt Annie's grave down, and indeed my nana's grave down, but, um, no, there was helpers there to make sure it wasn't so burdensome for us. So, yeah. So my brother's buried in the same plot of ground as my dad, and they'll share a tombstone, and, his name will be put on that soon enough. And as I said, it has a little, epitaph on it that I think is significant, um, for not only my dad, but also for my brother too. I'm just gonna take this off now because I started wearing it for the eulogy because it was kinda significant to that. Um, as I was speaking to all those friends, I was talking about where they'd been to and what they'd been up to and where they'd gone and everything like this, and they were telling me about how they'd been to New York last year. They were at New York, and then my cousin came over and said she was in New York, and apparently they were all there at the same time. They all went in May, and they were told that it'd be lovely, it'll be lovely in New York in May. And the two guys, they were like, it was okay. And my cousin was like, no, it rained really heavily the first day, and then it was so cold the day after that, and then it was really sunny. So the weather in New York sounds quite Scottish, to be honest. Um, so I decided then that, yeah, I would probably want to take a wee trip to New York at some point next year. But on another note, again, I was actually thinking I might go to Utah next year too, because I've got a friend in Glasgow who's told me that they're quite keen to go over to Utah. So I think that'd be quite a fun thing to do. I was looking into it, and two tickets to Utah, it's not that much. So I was thinking about getting a couple of tickets, and then I'll see if anybody wants to come with me. David, Leanne, whoever. If you want to, whoever wants to come, let's go. Let's go to Utah. Let's go to Salt Lake City. I'm sure that's where that Sean McCraney lives too. That'd be a fun encounter, wouldn't it? That'd be a fun encounter. But I don't know. Maybe my friend in Glasgow would like to come. Um, I just wanna see some more of the world. This idea of transitions and from life to death or life to life and just everything else. It's like I just kind of feel like, if we all have to confront things that we think are a bit uncomfortable or whatever, then just getting that into the rhythm of your life, to try different things and to experience new things kind of takes the edge off of uh, things that can be difficult. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Oh, look, there's David saying he wants to come. He wants to come. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, there's Leanne saying it too. Aye, no, that's it. That's it. Mormon City. Yeah, no, that's it. The talk, all this talk about Mormons and stuff like that has inspired a trip. Has inspired a trip to the epicenter, the ground zero of Mormonism. Um, So yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. And I like this. I thought I would make this little video now. I think it's off the back of a video on resurrection and what that actually can mean and how we should understand it. I think that's nice too. Um, aye, it's not with. I don't know if this helps. I don't know if this actually really helps quite a lot. I remember listening to Brother David speak about how um, being on YouTube for so long makes him jaded towards like sort of like antagonism and things like that. I remember him telling a story of being in high school, I think it was, and one of his teachers kind of ran right through him, and he just kind of was like nonplussed about the whole ordeal. And then one of his friends turned around and was like, "How did you take that so well?" And David was just like, "What? Like, did something happen?" And it's like, I don't know if like coming on here on YouTube and like just communicating and talking to people and just sharing experiences actually made today a bit easier as well, because it's like I feel like I have this like wee community here and we can all talk and share about experiences, and you kind of I don't know, it just kind of makes you a bit more able to handle things. It just kind of works in a mysterious way. It works in a mysterious way. So yeah, no, I really loved it. I loved the sermon today. I thought it was so lovely. I loved that Robert's high school friends came out. I thought that was so touching. Um, yeah, and on the back of the don't know what I've done with it. The order of service here. Um, there's a there's an invitation. There was an invitation to donate to this SAMS, the Scottish Association for Mental Health, and I'd actually done a little something with them a couple of weeks, months, I don't know, a wee while ago with them, and so I was just my mum had done that, and randomly she just picked the same one I'd already kind of dealt with, and I've been invited to go to I don't know some radio station in Glasgow for an interview at their main office on mental health. I think it was supposed to be from the perspective of like a teacher and the kind of things we're doing there. And like that was one of the main things I was kind of read up on when I went to do my interviews to become a teacher was mental health and the kind of provisions that are in place. And I memorized all the stats and stuff like this to make it sound all very fancy. I haven't committed that. They were committed to memory. I've since forgotten a lot of that information, but I'll need to reacquaint myself because I would quite like to do that now and just to lend my voice to that, because I think there's more that could be done. I think there's a lot being done. I'm not going to be someone that goes on the airways and stirs up a lot of dust and makes life difficult for myself. I want to be sure to thank everyone who does an amazing job working with people who need that kind of support. But it's a wee shame for those that kind of slip through the cracks, and I want to make sure that they have an advocate. They have someone who can speak up for them. You know, um, so that's just kind of happened. It wasn't. I don't know. I still don't know how this radio station people got in contact with me. I made an account on Twitter, and I have an account on Twitter, but I made a different one. Um, because you have to be careful, don't you? Like, my goodness. You just like the wrong thing on Twitter, and if that gets out, it's such I've never met Twitter is just insane. Like, Twitter is so controversial. Every other social media outlet to me just seems really, like, chill and relaxed. Well, I only really use one, don't I? Well, I have a couple, but I don't really use them that much, like Facebook, Instagram, don't really use Snapchat, but none of these things are particularly like that political. But then you go onto Twitter and it is so political. It's so charged with politics. So yeah, it's something you have to gotta watch out for. Um, Now I'll show you some cool places in Texas and New Mexico. Yeah, I would actually quite like to just spend a bit of time in America, I think, and just see what's all going on there. So yeah, you have to see Texas, don't you? Texas and New Mexico. Go down Galveston with his. Now, as I say, I had a friend that was I have a friend in a neighbouring town, and he had a cousin from Galveston, Texas. So she came over, and then uh, we had a wee connection. We had a wee chat. Like, I gave her this ornate kind of glass bottle, and inside it, I put the waters of Loch Ness. I put the waters of Loch Ness. At least that's what I told her. What had happened is I'd taken her to a restaurant in Largs, and I'd went to the bathroom and run the tap, and then poured some of the water for the bathroom in the restaurant. She's not a subscriber. into their beautiful ornate glass bottle, and I told her, "This is the water from Loch Ness." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious? Are you serious right now?" I was like, I'm serious right now. I'm 100% serious. But I wasn't, was I? So she took that home, I think, right? Could she take a little container of water home? Yeah, I think you can. I don't think they're that scrupulous uh, at customs, I don't think that. I mean, obviously, I think they'll pick up on things, but I've just kind of walked through with like things in the wrong places and stuff, and just don't care. Um, so yeah, why did I make that comment? No, it's fine. Aye, so she's in New York though. Um, Last time I was in America, she asked me to come up and see her, and that she would take me out on the town and stuff. So I might hit her up. She's obviously someone that's still got me in mind. So that'd be nice to do. I think I'll go and say hello at some point while the invitation's there. So as I say, so that's next year for me. I just want to do a wee bit more traveling, get around, and just see how things are. So that's it. That's one of the more difficult things you're going to do in life, isn't it? Is bury a loved one. And all I can say is what's made it easiest or easier for me is just having a spiritual mind. That does help, having a spiritual mind, um, and just kind of knowing that it's all fine. The transition is it's not as shocking, it's not as destroying as it all could seem and all could be. Um, I believe that um, Robert will continue to grow and continue to develop into being a wonderful human being, capital H, capital B. So yeah, that's what I feel. Do I hear a wee spooky thing? Do I hear a wee spooky thing? So I don't know if it was Monday or Sunday night. It just everything kind of speeds up in your mind, and I'm thinking to myself, Robert, like how has this come about? How has this come about? Because Robert was so close to me in certain ways. Like I would know all his references. Like if I was gonna say something, he'll say it, or you know what I mean. Like we were kind of like right on it together. And it's like right. I'm just sitting there thinking, Robert, you must be thinking about me. Like I would be thinking about you and my family if I had passed on. And I thought, Robert, you must be thinking about me right now. In this present moment, you're thinking about me. And I said, and then I did that stupid thing that I don't recommend anyone do, but I was kind of like, Robert, see if you're here, do something, do something. Knock over that card, knock over that card on the counter there. This is what everybody's like, that's how you get familiar spirits. That's how you get familiar spirits. I'm like, right, okay, maybe it is, don't do it. Right. Anyways, as I was thinking that, the light flashed in the hallway. The hallway light flashed. So I kind of noticed the light was on as I'm saying my wee spiel in my head or talking it to the in the living room, just pacing around. The hallway light's on, and then just suddenly it's off. So I just kind of peek my head up. So then I go upstairs and I start playing with the light, and it won't come on. The bulbs popped, right? So I'm just thinking to myself, oh, I'm thinking, oh, that's one of the things. That's one of the things. So my mum came in it later that day, and I said, I did this, and then the light popped, and she said, that light. I said, aye. She said, that light's not been working for days. And I was like, oh, it's like, oh, no, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my little brother was upstairs. Maybe he put the bathroom light on and off, but usually you can hear that. I don't think he did. Who knows? Who knows what that was all about? But it's just one of those things I think you can sometimes do. And I don't know if there's an element of immaturity in that, so I'm not recommending anyone do it. But it's just that idea that I feel like Robert must have me in mind, and I'll always have him in mind. And I don't know what it's going to be like in the weeks going forward because sometimes I wouldn't see my brother for quite a while if I was, when I was down in Birmingham and then elsewhere. But yeah, I genuinely, I love my brother. As I said in the eulogy, he loves his family and we love him. And that'll never change. That'll be true when I pass away, you know, that'll always be true. Um, so I don't know. Obviously, there's some other wee bits and pieces I would like to discuss, but I think a half-hour video here is the thing. So yeah, I'll leave it at the half-hour point, then I'll wrap up in these next few questions. I don't know. I don't know what to do with myself tonight. I'm going into work tomorrow, but they're reducing my contact time with the class, which is nice because it means I have more time to plan and not I won't get so stressed out. Again, the school refused to let me leave, even though I think at this point in my life, I would rather go back into my old job, which gave me more flexibility and was just a much more easygoing time of it. But I think maybe that's the wrong idea. Maybe I should just stick it out as I've already stuck out so many months. Well, a couple of months anyway. Let's just do it all in the winter. while they seem so insistent upon helping me until I give them no excuse. Like, we'll see. I appreciate that, Leanne. That means the most to me. And I'll have a wee word with you, Leanne, uh, in private as well. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Sonic Grace, uh, brother David, and David De La Garza as well. Um, it means so much just to have you people. Well, let's be honest. I don't know who this De La Garza guy is. Not you're very welcome to the channel. It's just a much more. I really appreciate my friend David and Leanne again. Yeah, it's funny when as I was thinking that, as I walked into the church and I walked into the Kirk Hall, I just had a hit of nostalgia, and I thought to myself, the first thing I wanted to do when I left school was to be a minister. I wanted to be a minister. I didn't feel like it was a very mature kind of born out thought, but I just thought I would quite like to be a minister, and I just didn't have the grades for it. They wanted because I don't know if it was just Glasgow that was doing it, and they wanted me to have something like two A's and two B's, and I ended up getting one A, two B's, and a C at first. I did another year to try and make up the difference, but Glasgow University, just that they didn't take me in. They didn't take me in at the time, so I was just like, whatever, whatever. I've always had the worst luck with Glasgow University. Edinburgh seems to be where where I kind of find my place, but no, that's it. So maybe later on I could go back to Glasgow now, but in fact, no, maybe I'd just be up for that. Maybe I'll just do this year as a teacher and then just go back to uni, and because that's brilliant. I'll go back to uni and try and get a Bachelor of Divinity or something. But then it's like, oh, you have to be a member of the Church of Scotland. Church of Scotland's quite uh, liberal though, so they might even accommodate someone such as myself. And I don't need to come all out and be like, I have different beliefs than the rest of the church. I don't have to do that. I can just communicate the most important things, which I think are fine and totally applicable and stuff. Um, but again, it doesn't have to be the Church of Scotland. It just seems like that'd be the place to go. Um, aye, that's fine. That's okay. But as David will tell you, being a Highlander, there can only be one De La Garza. There can only be one. And I've had to put up with that at high school now. Those two Mr. Taylors. Um, yeah. Um, so no, that's where I'm at just now. That's it. I've just kind of been moseying around, just keeping myself to myself, going out to Glasgow from time to time. Um, I don't know if I wanted to head up to Glasgow tonight or something like that. I don't, nah, because I was gonna, but then I'm like, I don't know. As I say, I'll figure out what I'm doing tonight. But yeah, we'll see what life has in store. Again, just thank you everyone so much for your thoughts and your prayers and all the rest of it. It's meant so much, and now that my brother's been laid to rest, I don't know, it's going to be a different pace of life. It's going to be things are going to be slightly different, but that's just the nature of things, isn't it? Things always change, except from you know the answer. You know the answer. Oh yes, that's right. I'm looking forward to some games of Ludo. I'll need to get I need to get that done. Get good at that game. Learn how to roll a six. I have a dice here, right? I have a dice here. If I can roll a six live on live television, I mean, I'm kind of dressed like a magician anyway, so I'm going to try and roll a six on live television, right? This is what you need. You know, six. I'm not gonna. I won't just pick it up and say it was a six. It was a six. It was a one, and that always happens to me. I try and get a six and I roll a one. I had to seek the German and so on. Of course, that's wonderful. Yeah, so the new group I've been hanging around with, the Sikh, the German, the Jew, and the Italian German. Yeah, I've since met up with them. I don't know what she thinks I am. this Italian German girl, does she think I'm her boyfriend? She's never said that, but the way she's communicating, like, "Oh, the group met you and they thought you were great," and she said, like, one of her friends said, okay, she said to me, "So do you wanna hear what one of my friends said about you?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? Um, is it bad?" And she's like, "No, no, it's not bad, it's not bad, but my friend, thought I'd go with, so I thought I would pick someone cooler." And I was like, "What?" It's like, "Cooler than me? You don't get cooler than me." And I threw an absolute tantrum. And I cannot, I didn't do that because that would be uncool. That would be uncool. You know what I mean? No, I just thought that was funny. So I don't know, Julia. I hope I said her name. Said her name live on camera. My life is ruined. They know who I am. No, so let's call her G. So yeah, things with G are yeah, certainly a thingy. And she's been talking to me a lot about the Mormonism and about Utah and things like this, you know? She's an absolute sleuth though. Like she found out the name of the Mormon that was visiting her and knows everything about his family and stuff now. And I've told her I have a YouTube channel. And if I told her my nickname too, she has to be smart enough to be able to find my channel, surely. And yet she pleads ignorance like she's never seen it. Um, that's fine now. That's fine. I don't think it'd be anything strange to her. She seems someone that's quite open-minded. I just kinda my failure is though, it's kinda talking to people about, like I want to be more knowledgeable about things than I actually am, which is like 'cause it's a wonderful disposition to want to be more knowledgeable at things than you are. It's not a good mode of being, but it's a good way to feel if you respond to it appropriately. So I just start coming out with references that I can't that don't go anywhere. So we're talking about French cinema, right? This is what I know about French cinema. Mhm. Yes. Oh, on it. That's as much as I know about French cinema, but I'll just let them come out with something, and I'm like, oh, it sounds familiar. Then I'll come out with. She was talking about this absurdist kind of like weird French cinema that just it doesn't have a narrative or anything like that. It's just sort of made to I don't know, not make you feel evoke discomfort, right? And I was like, right, right, that sounds a lot like. Have you ever heard about David Lynch? Have you ever heard of David Lynch's work? And she's like, oh, David Lynch. No, I'm not too familiar about David Lynch. And I'm like, shit. I don't know anything about David Lynch except from the fact that his work is supposedly kind of strange. So I was rattling through my mind to pick a title. I was like, wow, what's the name of that movie that David Lynch made? And I couldn't find one. And that's become a recurring joke. Every time I go and meet her and the kind of conversation drops dead, I'll ask her about David Lynch. And it's just a case of no. It's the same thing with music as well. I'm not so I like who I like, you know what I mean? I just have quite an eclectic taste in music, and I'll know the song, but I won't be able to tell you about all the different uh, iterations that the artist has been through and how the genres changed and all the rest of it. So when I'm talking about music, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that band. And then they'll shoot off into all these other different bands, and I'll just become less and less and less like on board with what's been said. I'm like, yeah, haha, yep. I'm clearly just nodding along at this point. So yeah, that's how it works. But again, that's not always the case. And it's the same thing with like history too. Like I'll know a little bit about history and then I'll end up speaking to someone who's just like an encyclopedia. But then it does happen that people don't know what I'm talking about. So I'll bring up a subject and they'll be so ignorant on the subject that I can just fill in the blanks. So I'll just start spinning a yarn. Like this sounds true. This sounds accurate. They can look it up later. They probably don't care. Which is good for improv, I think. Did I tell you I went to my first improv show? Did I make a video since then? I must have. No, I don't think I did. Maybe I did. I don't know. But I went to this improv show, and I've never been to improv. You know, Whose Line Is It Anyway with Drew Carey and whoever the other people are that actually do the improv. Or Saturday Night Live, is that improv? Saturday Night Live. I think a lot of the actors on there are, or the performers are from an improvisational background. So I went to that improv club, and there was 3 acts that went on, and, like, the first act were just kinda having their debut, and that was, like, one of, her friends that was in that I recognised, the Jew from New York. She is hilarious. See when she puts on that kinda Bronxy or Queens, I don't know, there's lots of different places in New York, but see when they do the accent, that kinda New York accent, she had this attitude and sass. I remember saying this. She was so funny. She was so funny, and, uh, and then the next act was really good, and then, um aye. The main people that were supposed to be so funny were not that funny. And she said, "See if you can spot my ex," because her ex was in the the third act, this supposedly great group. And I'm not this guy who you know what I mean? Like I don't like to be like if your ex is in the audience, because I'm quite a sympathetic person. If I'm on stage and I can see my ex sitting in the front row, because we're sitting in the front row, and we had to actually participate too, so they all gave us a rose. And actually, it's kind of weird because they're called something else, and there's a death and a kind of funeral is like their motif. So I had to throw a flower into this funeral scene, and I thought this is ridiculous. I'm going to a funeral in like 2 days, anyway. So, and I was actually dressed weirdly. I had like a black shirt on with a black waistcoat and a black trousers, black and a big black jacket. So I looked like I was part of the group because they were all dressed in dark clothes too. Um, yeah, so I'm thinking this guy's going to look into the audience, and his ex is sitting there with this guy, and I was thinking, how's he gonna feel about that? So she was kind of being a wee bit, she'd put her hand on my leg and stuff like that throughout the show and tried to hold my hand, things like this, and which is fine. I didn't like shoo her off, but I didn't want to make a show about that because I'm not going to be like, how you doing? This is your ex. You know what I mean? I just feel so awkward and strange that scenario. So no, I just kind of sat there and was like, aye, okay. And she said, "Great, but did you know which one was my ex?" And she said, "I'll give you a clue, not attractive," which I was like, "Okay, what does that say about your taste in men?" But no, it was some guy, and she eventually told me who it was, and yeah, he seemed like a fine young man. He seemed like a fine young man. But yeah, apparently it didn't work out because I don't know why. I don't know why. But I could certainly, from what she said, I could see incompatibilities. He seemed very much more into his kind of things, which were, I don't know, like comics and stuff like that. And she wasn't really into that scene, so it didn't really play out. Um, yeah, it was just, I don't know, very very liberal. It's a very liberal scene improv. Actually, you might be surprised to hear there's not many conservatives in the liberal improvisation comedy scene, which is a crying shame, right? Why is there no diversity of thought allowed in comedy in particular right now as well? We hear about that, One of the most someone sent me a meme yesterday from this Graham Linehan guy who he's the Father Ted one, isn't he? And I will never really like that guy's material again just because he's ruined himself by the way he came after that YouTuber Count Dankula, Mark Meekin. He grilled him on anti-Semitism for making the Nazi pug video, where he says, "I'm going to turn this dog into the worst thing I can possibly think of because it's so cute. I'm going to juxtapose that with evil." And then he trains it to respond to "Gas the Jews," and I probably shouldn't have said that sentence, and like "Hail Hitler" and all the rest of it. And this Lynham guy who made Father Ted, which had a whole episode that was just so like Nazi, where Father Ted has a little smudge of dust in his window, and then he sees like the Asian people coming in, and he starts doing all these hand gestures. So basically, he's made an episode in the same vein of comedy as this YouTube video, but he came out against the YouTuber so vehemently, and it was nonsense. No, everybody sees through that very vain virtue signaling. What's the point? And yeah, I mean, Mark Meekin comes across as someone that's just a bit of a cheeky chap. You know what I mean? He can be a bit crass in his humour sometimes, and it's definitely not for everyone. But he seems like such a well-intentioned and uh, quite a nice young man. Certainly someone you wouldn't want to smear with things that aren't true about him. You know, um, as they say, the police went through all these records, all these emails, they seized all his computer stuff. They couldn't find a single thing to back up the claim that he was anti-Semitic. Nothing. And this is indeed a young man with a communist tattoo on him and all the rest of it because he went through all that. So, he's hardly some right-wing maniac. Anyways, as I said, that's the kind of Twitter sphere coming into it now, isn't it? And that's because Twitter's quite a prominent venue for comedians as well. So yeah, that's certainly a thing there. Aye. And that's the thing, yes, that's it. So thank you for calling me cool, Sonic Grace. And yes, I think I would love to try myself on stage as well. I think that'd be quite an interesting avenue. Um, yeah, aye. That's the thing about this G person, this the improv girl. When I say future intentions, like when I come out with a plan for the future, she does that thing. She does that thing that girls do, or that anyone does really, when they don't see a future with a person. So you'll say something about the future, and then they'll say something like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good thing that you could do. That sounds like something that you could do." And you're like, "Wait, what? Okay, that sounds like something I can do. So we're not going to do this together." You know what I mean? So it's like when you're making future plans, and then you sort of put that fork in the roads between them. I've had that happen to me before, like someone that may be watching this video. Like where you've kind of been invited to go along and do something. Like, yeah, you should do that. You should do you. Let me emphasize the word you. The way I emphasize the word this generation in my prejudice videos. You should do that. It's like, okay. Which you? Is it me now or me in 2000 years? Aye. Yeah, I've had that happen. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, it can go really quiet sometimes, and the next thing is I'm getting messages with smiley faces, and I don't quite know what's happening. Um, aye. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll certainly see what happens with that. Right. This has turned into a 50-minute, half-hour video. Those are my favorite half-hour videos. Yeah, 5 o'clock. Um, it's 5 o'clock. So I'm at school tomorrow, but it shouldn't be too intense. Yeah, I'm just gonna relax. As I say, I might go out. I might go out to the Pot Still. The Pot Still is quite a nice whiskey pub. It's a really lovely crowd you get in a whiskey pub too. Lots of older people, because you're not going to get young people like, "Gosh, let's get whiskey. Let's get some quality, expensive whiskies." That's not going to happen in your Glasgow night out. It's gonna be old people and like families and stuff like that that come out to the Pot Still. So I might go out there for a whiskey tonight, and I'll wear my brothers. I will wear my big brother's jacket. Um, yes. So that was 2019. That was 2019. There's still a little bit of it to go, but yeah, it's been. I think that'll be the most, you know, significant part of the year. I do have a birthday coming up, but you know, there is a birthday today as well that I need to address. That I need to address. So yes, Aye, it's been a crazy time. It honestly has been a crazy year. Lots of things happening. So much has happened this year. So much has happened this year. To my heart. To my heart. And it's all been good. Like, it's all been good, it's all kinda taught me lessons. Um, but yeah, I loved that. I loved that my brother's friends showed up today. I was so happy to see them. And I think in a way my brother was too, and I felt that. I like that a lot. Right, gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna roll the dice one more time. One more time. Let's see. You're never gonna believe it. It was a 4. It was a 4. Why can't I roll a 6? It was a 4 again. What were the chances? Hey, I got a 6. Hey, fantastic. And on that amazing note, on that triumph of physics and gravity and the like, and chance, I'm gonna stop. But yes, the eulogy was about hand-me-downs. And we all hand things down. And we all send things out there, you know what I mean? And that wee idea of dropping a stone in the water and having it ripple out, that's the kind of effect we have on one another, you know? The things we do, the thing we say to people, it all kind of ripples on. We all affect people every day, and we all leave people with different feelings and things like that. And we can pass down clothes and things like that. But the most important thing to hand down to one another is love. Is love. There's a part in the eulogy, right? When I was reading it at home, I thought I can't pause too long on that because that just sounds. Should I change the wording here? Um, it's the last line. In Robert's memory, let's all remember to make love. Our most important hand-me-down. Like I felt like I can't stop on. Let's all remember to make love. Oh, our most important hand-me-down. Yes, yes. Like that could have got weird. Could have got very strange. No, but we have to remember to do that. We have to remember to make love our most important hand-me-down. How could I could have said that differently. Let's all remember to have love be our most important hand-me-down. Maybe that would have read better. But at the time, it sounded fine. Nobody noticed. So it was good. It was good. So let's all remember to make love our most important hand-me-down. Okay? All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Really, from the bottom of my heart. Um, you guys are there's family to me. Well, again, I don't know about that. De la Garza. Not kidding. No, you're fine. You're fine. I'll speak to you all soon. Okay. So much love, guys. So much support. Thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to making another wee video in the future. Uh, Getting into some different things. Okay. All the best now. I'll see you later. Right, yeah. Takes a little while, but there we are. Right. God bless.